What is going on, my friends? How are you doing? Hope you're all doing fine. Today is a glorious day. Look at the beautiful weather that we got today. No, just kidding, but it's not raining, and that's amazing for our purposes. And yesterday we had another glorious day because we completed the yearly checkup that we did with the Caddy Bro, that we have to do with the Caddy Bro once a year to see if everything's fine and stuff like that, for which you actually have to have it in a reasonably original conditions, so without the sleeping systems in, with all the seats in. And I also got permission from the big boss, Mona. We're not gonna transport anything big anytime soon with this thing anymore, so it's actually time to reinstall the sleeping system. I thought I'm gonna, use the opportunity to, elaborate a little bit on changes that I did. I got a lot of questions over the years, because of this one building video, which got quite a lot of views. What would you do different if you did it again? How did you change anything? How is it going with the system? Is it still working and stuff like that? Yada yada yada. So the plan is to reinstall it one more time. Building it out of the van takes roughly half an hour. Building it back in takes roughly 40 minutes or something. So I'm just gonna film the process, and when I stumble upon something that I changed, I'm just gonna voice over it. As you can see, I've got already my single parts here around the corner lined up. So I hope it's not gonna take too long. What are you gonna need in terms of tools for this? An absolutely pathetic drill like this. Yeah? This is actually gonna be enough for this build. Yeah? Which is actually pretty amazing when you think about it. Now obviously this is not building it from scratch. This takes a lot more tools and a lot more time, but I'm just gonna reinstall what's already built. And yeah, I've got the single parts lined up. So let's get started.
Yeah, before we can really do anything here, we gotta empty the trash out of the trunk. I'll use the opportunity to say a few general words about the car and get into the specs a little. It's a Caddy Life Eco Fuel. The year of construction is 2008. I bought it used in late 2017 at 110,000 kilometers of mileage. And shortly thereafter, I built the sleeping system. I think in late 2017, I put up the first video about the sleeping system. The premium owner gave me a pretty good deal. I think it's now at 190,000 kilometers, so I added roughly 80k to that in the meantime. Yeah, this is the state in which I usually go to my yearly checkup with the Caddy. Emptied out everything. I just keep the floor in because that doesn't really seem to disturb the service and anything. So yeah, from Flatanger in Norway to Siorana in Spain to Leonidio in Greece. I mean, I've been in a lot of places with this sleeping system that I constructed, and in general I'm happy with the car. It's going well. Of course I had to get some stuff repaired and exchanged with time, some rust here and there. I crushed both frontal shock absorbers in Albania last year. That was great times. It's the eco-fuel variant, so one neat feature is that it uses natural gas as fuel, which is usually significantly cheaper than other fuels and more environmentally friendly. When no gas is available, you can still go with gasoline, like in remote regions of Greece, for example. One downside is that I feel it needs a little bit more oil than regular cars, although I can't say whether that's because of the natural gas or just simply because of potential suboptimal treatment of the motor before I owned it, who knows. And of course it's not a full-blown van, it's a Caddy, so you're not top tier space-wise, but I gotta say I like the coziness and stealthiness that comes with that. Overall I'd say it's definitely recommendable. Now here's the first change that I did in comparison to when I first built the sleeping system. I added a couple of inlets there into the floor so that I'm able to actually travel with all seats in, with all back seats in, and also the sleeping system installed, which wasn't possible first when I made the sleeping system, because I thought okay, I just let this one back seat in so that I can travel at least with two people, and then at the same time I will have maximum space for luggage, right? But of course that's very short-sighted, because at least for your yearly checkups here in Austria you have to have all the possible seats in your car so that they can check your seat belts actually. So just alone for that, it would have been smarter to have the inlets right away so that I can have all back seats in and out as quickly as possible without having to exchange the floor, right? And also now with the kid, it's obviously a lot better to have the double back seat in the back compared to the single one, because now we have then Mona can sit right beside the child.
The car is prepared. We've emptied out all the trash. We've removed one seat. We've prepared our tools. We've got the pathetic drill, some bits here, and the cup with the screws. Every time I empty out the sleeping system out of the car, if I have to make my yearly checkup again, I reharvest all my screws, which are these very short screw-on screws here, as you can see. Maybe I can show them a little bit closer to you. These are tiny screw-ons, right? Of course they are quite short. They just need to go into the wooden floor that I've installed in the car, which gives the whole construction then its stability.
Alright, let's start installing the actual sleeping system. I'm showing you close-ups of these pillar tops on the right side here, just to to point out that it's not a random order that I'm placing them here. It's actually quite important that the order is correct, because otherwise things won't add up spatially later on. I always simply use the old holes from my screw-ons from previous mounts. That seems to be no problem stability-wise. They're just very stable. As you can see here, I can actually tilt them. The back thought behind that was even if I have to transport something big, I don't have to remove all the pillars. I just can simply let them fall down and still have space for the big thing that I want to transport, without the sleeping system, of course. Then now the rather annoying part starts. We have to get the side walls in again. It's actually pretty simple. You just have to fit this construction here in quite tightly. The change that I did here, I don't know if you noticed it already, but the board that I'm using for the that is in between the pillars, this one here, is actually a glue laminated board, which is a lot thinner than what I was using originally. I think it's about double as thin, which means it's also quite a bit lighter, but at the same time it is the same stability. Now the problem with the old boards was, although they were thicker, they were laminated in a vertical manner. And that means that after the years of laying down on these boards, they sagged down a little bit, and at some point they even cracked. Yeah. So I think at around 2 years in or something, they cracked. So obviously it's not the smartest thing that if you want to put a vertical strain on something, that this is vertically laminated then, because you can be pretty sure that it's gonna split at some point. Yeah. So here I learned my lesson. I simply exchanged the boards with just the exact same pattern here, just with glue laminated boards that are horizontally laminated, yeah, so that they are now much more stable. As you can see here, once the board of the other side comes down, this is a pretty tight fit here with those pillar space holders. This is something that I would recommend in general when you make build-ins like these. Have everything fit pretty tightly, because you don't want to have everything rattling around when you drive above a bumper or you do a sharp turn or anything like that. Yeah. So this is, as you can see, the state without the drawers still, but with the side walls already in place. As you can see, one is hanging down there a little bit on the right side. That's because I still have not installed my, the cranking down of this wall, which is what I'm gonna show you in a second. Now here we gotta plug the cables back in for the speaker here in the back, which actually improves the sound quality in the car quite a lot. So I'm always happy to to reinstall the sleeping system like that. Now here we can see the original, or still traces of the original clamping down system. I used these magnetic stripes there, one on the glass of the window and one on the wall. But of course, the one on the glass was only holding on there with glue. And with everything with glue is the problem, it goes down with time. Yeah, so after some time this stuff got loose, it went off the glass, and so I decided, okay, you know what, I'm just simply gonna exchange this with a better clamping down system. I'm having this screw hole there. I got a screw that fits in there, and then just simply put a little hinge into that out of wood. I'm just simply screwing that in right now, and as you can see, I can then just simply clamp down the side wall beyond this little clamper. I'm a little bit of an idiot, so I overlooked that when I installed the left side wall, that I clamped down the cables below the actual boards, so I had to reinstall that one more time so that the cables are actually out, and now they are. So let's plug in the cables here again on this side, the speaker, and here we also have the beautiful light there, which lights up quite nicely when we open up the trunk, so that's cool. Talking about opening the trunk, here's another slight modification that I added to the Caddy. One significant disadvantage of the Caddy, in my opinion, is that you cannot open the trunk by default from the inside, which is of course something that is always practical and useful when we want to sleep in a van like this, right? So I made a little mechanism with this wire going down into the auto body, actually to the mechanism where the trunk opens, and now we can open the trunk from the inside by pulling on this wire. It's actually a pretty cool tuning, I would say. Now it's already time to add the drawers back in. Actually, the construction is not completely symmetrical, so there is one right and one left drawer. The right drawer here goes in, and as you can see when you look at it from the bottom, there are these you know, fabric clothing stuff, so that it makes it slide a bit more easy. Here I have this stopper in place so that the drawer comes to sit at the just exact spot, so that it's you know, held in place by this stopper and the trunk. When the trunk is closed, again, you don't want to have anything rattling around there in the back when you're driving above a bumper or something like that. And finally, we simply lay down the main boards on top of all of this. As you can see, the same that is true for the drawer boards is also true for the main boards. I exchanged them with thinner, glue laminated, horizontally glue laminated boards. So let's set up the sleeping system. First of all, you gotta lay down the back seats, then you have to put both frontal seats as much to the front as possible, not only by sliding them to the front but also by tilting the you know, the seats to the front. Here I've got these pillars. The short ones actually have to come to rest on this armrest in the front, and then I've got one bigger one here which is gonna support the main board from the ground, which we will see later. Next, the main big boards have to be placed. This is actually quite a simple process. You just simply pull them to the front until they rest on these pillars, on the armrest, and until they actually fit into the cross that is in the central pillar of the car, which is what I'm gonna show you in a little bit more close up later. And as you can see, then they are level with the boards of the drawers, and then you just simply pull it up a little bit, clench it down with the seat, actually with the front seat, and then you can close the door, and it comes to rest actually as well on the armrest on the right side here of the seat. Now the same has to be done simply for the other board, and then as you can see, we've got quite a large sleeping surface. This is a roughly like 140 times 2 meters bed, so pretty much an exact double bed, which is tapering down in the back here a bit, as you can see, which doesn't really matter a lot. You can sleep with the feet there, then you can still enjoy the full space of the bed. As you can see, here is a little bit of an inlet so that this pillar of the car fits in there and tightens everything down a little bit more you know, accurately. Here you can see how the board is resting on the armrests of the frontal seats there. And here you can see how everything comes together in the space holder of the central pillar. As you can see, it's not completely symmetric. This is actually quite important because this space holder, you know, tries to outbalance tiny little inaccuracies in spacing, you know, in dimensioning of the boards and everything. So yeah, with this asymmetry, it's actually coming out perfect everywhere else. Of course, if you're laying down on these boards now and you don't have anything to support it from the bottom, you're gonna, you know, you might with time impair the stability a little bit. So that's why I have this pillar here to support the right main board. And unfortunately on the other side, as you can see, it's not exactly level with the seat that is down there. You've got this little space, so this is bouncing a bit as well. To prevent this, I simply put this little wooden block here in between. And so, my friends, I would say the good old Caddy Bro is ready for some overnight adventures again. I hope you enjoyed the little update episode on the Caddy sleeping system. I hope you got something from it. I think I've shown all the little details that I changed over the years. It's not much really. The basic system stayed completely the same and it works, just keeps on working, you know. So why change your running system? As always, leave your questions, feedback and criticisms down below. Drop a like on the video if you got something from it, and I hope to see you soon in the next one, my friends. My lips are already a bit slow because it's actually quite cold out here. I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye.